In this session, we're going to discuss about publishing an app to App Store. So let's get started. So I've logged in here. I've logged into my Apple developer account, and you can see my name here and the company name here. So before you actually publish your app to App Store, you must have your bundle ID already created, and then you must have an IPA so that you can push it to the App Store. So I'm going to walk you through some of the screens you need to go through, some of the steps you have to take to publish your app to App Store. The first thing is the first time when you enter this developer account, you have to click on this plus sign and create a new app, and you select iOS and put your name in, put the name of the app in, and choose the primary language, which is English, US, UK, Canada, whatever that is. Choose a bundle ID, and then choose a SKU. The SKU is actually the way I would do is put the date, year, month, that is August, and the date like 20. There is some benefit to doing this. You would know when the app was pushed to App Store. You can do some metrics or some math on this, and also this like unique SKU must be unique, so you can actually add, or maybe you want to add a hyphen and put some name after that. And then user access is always full access. You can always limit the access to different departments, that's fine, but you can always use full access also. So once you do that, you would see something like this created. For example, I'm showing hemp by here. So this is a basic screen where everything is empty and you need to fill in each and every step here. So I'm going to walk you through some of the things that you need to do to complete this form and submit it for review. So on this screen here, there are 4 tabs: App Store, Features, Test Flight, and Activity. So the Activity is a very useful tab. It will tell you what versions have been pushed to test flight. Sometimes there are chances that some of the versions are dropped and won't show up in the activity. That could be because of incompatible version or some missing item in the info.plist file. So this will give you kind of a history of what apps have been uploaded and pushed to test flight. Then the next one is test flight. Test flight is where you can start testing, and if you have a test flight app installed, the app would show up there. But note that test flight also uses production certificates. So once you have tested the app, you can directly push to App Store. Test flight does not mean that it uses non-production certificates. Test flight always uses production certificates, and this makes it easier to push to App Store. So if you look at this text here, right, upload your builds using one of the several tools. This is one of the tools I use. It's called the Transporter app. So once you log into Transporter, you would see the company name here and your login ID here, and you can use this to add an app and push it to test flight. So here, for example, let us take a good example here. Let's use this Hemplines app here. And if you see, there is a lot of activity. There is a lot of builds here. There's a lot of activity here, a lot of versions here. If you go to test flight tab, you see that this version 1.4.2 it's ready to submit, and there's been 5 invites. There've been some crashes here. So the way to do this, way to upload a build, is go to the Transporter app, click on Add App, and select your IPA file, which is Hemplines here, and click Open. And now you are trying to push this to test flight. So before you do deliver, you can actually you can do a verify to check whether the IPA has any flaws, any problems, any certificate mismatch. This will help you to avoid problems later on, because an IPA file is very large. It's about 100 to 200 MB, and it takes a while to upload. So it's better to do a verify before you do a deliver. Okay, I want to show you an example here why a verify check can fail. For example, if you look at this sample here, I have this 1.4.2 build 118 already uploaded to test flight. It's already uploaded here, but I want to see whether this would flag an error. So before I do a deliver, I would do a verify, and this verify will fail because this build is already uploaded to test flight. So let's try that. So I'm doing a verify now, and this verify will fail because the build is already been uploaded to test flight. See, it has failed here, and I can go and look at the logs, and it clearly says it has failed because it says redundant binary upload because it has already been uploaded with the same build number. So that is the advantage of using a verify app, verify here. The advantage is you would know the errors in advance before you actually upload a 200 MB build to test flight. So the first thing you need to do is add a new version. So I click on this plus sign here, and I'm going to give a new version that is 1.4.3, for example, and I'm going to create a new version of the app. So now the status has changed to prepare for submission. Now the version is 1.4.3. So what you need to do here is first upload all the screenshots. So there are two main different sizes of screenshots you need to upload. The first is 6.5 inches and second is 5.5 inches. Both are mandatory to upload. So first you can upload actually this from the simulator itself. You don't need to have a 6.5 inch device to take screenshots from. You can do this from the simulator itself. So once you've uploaded all the screenshots, make sure the order is correct. You go to the 5.5 inches and make sure you upload them again. There's a maximum of 10 screenshots you can upload, and then you can upload 3 of app previews. App previews are short videos of the app, how it looks like in action. Once you have done your uploads, make sure you use Safari browser because if you use Chrome, it doesn't work sometimes. Make sure you use Safari browser for uploading the screenshots. Coming down, promotional text. Promotional text is actually a way to inform the users about the current features of the app, and then why you're doing an update. So the thing is, this will appear above the description of the app in AppStore. The next is description. A description is like a detailed version of the app. It has why this app is used, what are the various features of the app, and what actually the app does, and stuff like that. Now, keywords are very important. Keywords are used to distinguish your app from others. It can be a very helpful tool when you do a search. When a user is looking for an app, you have to make sure that you have the right keywords. Now, the support URL is actually it's a mandatory URL. It will tell the user to go to this URL in case of an issue. For example, if the user is unable to install an app, he can come to this website and post a request, post a customer support request, and then you would be notified of that via email. So this is your own website URL that you need to provide in order to provide support for your app. The marketing URL is optional. You don't have to provide that, but sometimes people just put the same URL as marketing as well. Now coming to builds. Once you have uploaded your build, your IPA file in test flight, it would show in one of these builds here. There'll be a list of builds that you can select to push to test flight. So in our case, I don't see anything here because the latest build has already been submitted and it's ready for sale. So it's not showing up anything here. But once you do a build and give a higher build number, it would show up here. The next is version number. The version number here is very similar to the version number here. If you make a change here, it would get reflected here in this screen here. A copyright can be regular copyright text you can use. The age rating is actually there are a set of series of questionnaires you need to fill to get the age rating. For example, these are the set of descriptions you need to fill for every app to get this age rating. So once you fill this, AppStore, it automatically gives you the age rating of the app. The app review information is pretty self-explanatory. where you need to fill in the contact information, the first name, last name, phone number, email, and the information for the app to be reviewed by the Apple team. The version release section is an important section where you are telling the app review team to release the version as soon as it's approved. In case of a manually release this version option, the release will be set to a status called as pending developer release, where the App Store is telling the developer to release the version whenever he feels it's convenient to do so. The other two options are automatically release this version and automatically release this version after app review with a particular date. So you can actually set the date and time when the app must be released to the App Store. The next one is phased release for automatic updates. The meaning of this is, suppose you have like 1 million users and you don't want to bombard them with the updates on the same day. You can do a phased release over a 7-day period and release your app to those million users. There are times when you want to reset the rating of your app. One of the reasons could be that a user has given a bad rating due to the bugs in the previous version and you want to fix those bugs. So you fix those bugs, and in the latest in the version you want the users to re-rate your app. So in this case, you can reset the rating using this option, reset rating, when this version is released. The third most important section is advertising identifier, IDFA. If your app does not have any ads, just say no, then you're good to go. The thing to remember is if you are using any third-party libraries which have this IDFA, then your build won't be accepted by Apple. It will be rejected. So make sure your whatever third-party libraries that you're using does not have IDFA. And if the Apple finds out that you have this IDFA in your binary, then it will be rejected, and then you have to resubmit again. So make sure that there are no third-party libraries having this IDFA. The next one is the app information. So I clicked on the App Store tab here, and I see there's 4 sections: app information, pricing, ratings and reviews, and version history. So for the app information, you specify the app name. This is the name that shows up on the App Store. It is not the name that shows up when the app is downloaded. Subtitle is also displayed below the name of the app. Now the privacy policy generally is a link that points to the website. So when a user clicks on the privacy policy, it would point to the link on your website. So basically you need to have a HTML file with your privacy policy on it. Now the general information will have the bundle ID, the SKU. As I said before, it's a good naming convention to have the year, month and date for the SKU. Now Apple ID is a unique ID given by Apple for your app. The benefit of this is you can, when you're doing marketing and advertising for your app, you can use this as a link to point to your app at App Store. So you can send an email with Apple ID in the link that will point the user to this app in the App Store. So that is a benefit of using having an Apple ID. So make sure you note this down and generate a link that you can send to the user. The next one is content rights. Generally, when you have some content in your app, Apple wants to know whether you have taken permission for that content, and also whether it's a third-party access, third-party content that you're using. For example, I click on it here, and it says no, it does not show or contain third-party content. If I say yes, it's asking whether you have the necessary rights. Apple is not going to check for this, but it's just making sure that you're aware of it, so that you can avoid potential lawsuits and copyright infringements. Age rating. Age rating comes from a questionnaire. If you click on when you create this new app, there's a small questionnaire that you need to answer, and the age rating comes from there automatically. This is the Apple standard license agreement. So I've chosen to use the Apple standard license agreement. You can also use custom if you have paid your attorney well. He would give you a custom license agreement that you can use for different countries or regions. So this particular link, view on App Store, will actually have the Apple ID in it. So if I click on this, copy this and paste it here. So this is the marketing link you can use to advertise your app, and if you click on this, you will see the Apple ID here. So the next section is pricing and availability. Here I have set the app to a free app. You can set any value you want, but it will fall to different tiers. When Apple actually pays the developers, they would deduct their own Apple fees, and then you might get about 70%. It varies on different app stores on different locations. You might have to check with Apple on it. And there are reports which will tell you how much money you have made on each app. Now you can also limit the availability of an app to a specific country, and by clicking this edit here. So for example, in this case, right, I only made available to only within US. Everything else is disabled. iOS apps on Mac. So this is a new feature where Apple is actually moving to Apple Silicon. They're not going to use Intel processors anymore. So whatever the apps that you build on iOS will also be available on a Mac, provided that the Mac is using Apple Silicon. So which is happening by 2021. So the next point is app ratings and reviews. So look at this. I have a rating for the app here. It says great product. I can actually reply to that rating and say thanks for your feedback. Submit. So that way I can actually send a response for the comment, for the rating comments that I've got. The next section is version history. Version history will tell me the history, the record of when the app was submitted for review with Apple, and when it was reviewed, and when it was approved. For example, in this case here, I submitted my app on August 14th, and then it got approved on August 16th. So this is a good example of the time it takes for Apple to review various apps. It depends on the app. It depends on the category of the app. So let's submit an app for review here. I have an app here. I have push to test flight. So when I push to test flight, I get this. So I have this app version here in the build, and since it has been tested, I want to push this to test. I want to push this for approval. So what I do is I go to App Store. I go to the section called build, and here I can select a build from the list of test flight builds I have. I can click on this and say done. So I have a build ready to go, and then all I need to do is I have to fill in what is new in this text, which I would say fresh user experience using tabs. I will do this and I'll save it. Now I'm ready to go. So once I submit for review, the status here will change to submitted for review. Let's do this. So I click on submit for review. Before I do that, I make sure that I have all the screenshots, I have the description, I have the support URL is very important. and also have the build ready. Once I do all that, I do a submit for review, and the status here will change. So let's see what happens. So I'm submitting for review here. It says that I have not selected the IDFA usage. So I go down to the bottom and I select that I don't have ads in this app, and then I save it, and I'm trying to submit again. Now once I submit the app, I get this message: this version has been submitted for review, and you can edit all the information while your version is waiting for review. And to submit a new build, you must remove this from review. So there is still a chance, if you have messed up a build, if you have submitted the wrong build, you can still remove it for review and then resubmit it again. So you still have a chance, even at this point. So how do I remove a version from review? Suppose in this case, right, suppose you have selected the wrong build. Suppose I selected 140 and I should have selected 141. Or your developer just said that he pushed a new version to test, right, which is 141. So you want to remove this version from review, and the current status is waiting for review. So what to do is you find this link where it says to submit a new build, you must remove this version from review. Click on this, and it will ask you whether you want to remove this version from review. Just say remove, and it will remove this version from review.